This is Kowloon's Curse, Lost Report, a surrealist RPG with a heavy Japanese inspiration in design, as well as some Chinese and Hong Kong inspiration in visuals, all of this paired with crude, slimy, nacho cheese-flavored postmodern humor. That means if you don't think any of these posts are somewhat amusing, then the game isn't for you. Classic dungeon crawlers had a habit of making 3D spaces for you to explore while moving on a grid. Kowloon's Curse does the same thing, and it really adds to the strangeness of it. When I first started, I was really worried that I'd turn left or right and see something I wasn't ready to, but no, this game's designs are just unsettling, not downright offensive, which is exactly the look I think they were going for. A few months ago, I played Shin Megami Tensei 4 for the first time, and this game feels like if the demons somehow integrated into society and brought the eccentric, self-indulgent behaviors with them, affecting the people around them. Really a nightmare, but kind of cozy once you get used to it. Kind of like how I feel about Dorohedoro, which, hey, is also inspired by Kowloon, the Walled City, the once giant, unregulated Chinese bloc in Hong Kong territory. A surprising amount of coincidences led me to covering multiple pieces of media inspired by Kowloon so close together. The Stray video being one of them, as well as a Dorohedoro video in the pipeline. It's incredible hearing how fond people were of this nearly lawless plot of land. Chinese dentists who moved to Hong Kong would open up little shops in Walled City because their license didn't apply to Hong Kong laws. Pretty much all businesses were raw and operated on the lowest budget. It was a hot spot for small owners as there was very little getting in the way of operating how you see fit. Same goes for housing, very cramped spaces. The walkways were narrow and only those who lived there or frequented it could get around without getting lost. It was a common move for criminals to duck into the walled city while being chased to escape authorities, not because they didn't follow them there, but because it was easy to lose sight of someone who knows the layout. It was a hotspot for criminal operators in general, but that didn't make it a violent place. Although there were tons of problems with it, like air pollution and improper planning potentially leading to a catastrophe in the future, the people who lived there seemed to fondly remember the way of life that it brought and the community it created. Just people trying to get by in the best way they can.
咁但係我後來我自己諗返嘅時候就覺得有啲心酸啊！你冇資源嘅時候，咁樓上樓下有需要你咪幫下手咯。當時喺城寨嘅生活。嗰種嘅社群之間啦，或者人際關係咧，或者嗰種叫做咩社群之間嗰種嘅感情咧，係強烈好多㗎。
Kowloon's Curse seems to lean more towards the negative when portraying the town through the main events of the story, but there's also something sweet in the interactions with the people you can talk to. The confinement of the city, the neon lights, the murmur of the crowds, and other descriptors result in a surprisingly bustling city for what is actually going on at a technical level at any given moment. There's even a little subway to get you where you need to go, where you can read background dialogue. Sometimes it's on the same topic, or someone related to it will continue a topic. Like there was this guy complaining about the only other guy online for a fighting game he was playing. He says he wasn't very good and is just spamming throwing rocks on the ground. Later on, the rock spammer himself is on the subway talking about how much he loves the game and spamming rocks. I'm picturing the guy in it with a little PSP in his hand. For shit like that, the dev modeled an entire subway just to have you physically walk around and wait a moment for the subway. It's beautiful. These little details make Kowloon way more lively. The gameplay, when you're not exploring and turning your head exclusively 90 degrees, it's turn-based. Nothing really new is done, but similar to how this game is in general, a lot of shit is included for no real reason. As you might expect, the story seems like madness and nothing happens with a reason, but that quickly changes. Sorry to be so vague here. I don't want to spoil your ass, so let me tell you a couple things before we go through the events of the game. 1, you should play it before I progress here, and 2, it's free on Steam. It's a free video game. In my eyes, this game is an easy $5 at least, but this shit is free, dude. And it's only a couple of hours. Get out of here. Go play it. What the fuck are you doing here? Yeah, you fucking turn on the game, boom, AMV of what happened in the game. It's like those edits of those games, those shows and movies out there. You're so fucking real if you watch the Naruto fights to 3 Days Grace or some shit when you were like 12. It's probably more accurate to say that this is like an anime opening. About Kowloon's Curse though, it has that familiar guitar sound that creates that premium vibe. Also, nice fucking title screen. Some games cheap out on it, but those that put extra effort in, I see you. I appreciate you. Waking up in an eerie, foggy office space, in front of you is a bald man in casual business wear. He says your name is Mr. Manslaughter, which sounds like a username you'd cook up when you're 11. He says it's your first day on the job and you have a few options, but they don't really matter. He asks you a few strange questions, each of which determine your stats. The 3 possible answers are either expressly violent, shows a mastery over whatever technology is in this world, and another is more abstract, just strange. John asks you if you're happy with your answers, thanks you for dreaming with the Archon Reality Census Bureau, and wishes you luck as you wake up having all of your memories from the dream vanish. Waking up in your room, you can do a few little activities, like browsing the web. The posts and articles are deeply detached and morbid. You can gamble on the computer for a 1 in 2 chance to win, in which it would flash either a woman in a red dress or a blue dress. This shit is fucking awesome! The shows have no closure, no punchline, they make no sense, they have no consistency in art style. Very fitting for a surreal RPG.
Sometimes they say someone is in the wrong place at the wrong time. Well, if you ask me, this guy was in the right place at exactly the right time, because that was awesome.
You can take a piss, take a shower, take a look around. Dude, honestly, you have a nice amount of space in this little apartment. I'd be chill living here. The groovy music probably helps it look a lot more palatable, but hey, it was like this when I went to college. I even like the cozy vibe stepping out into the dingy apartment hallway and Oh. Hello, Cat. We love Cat. That is Ming enjoying a cigarette. Downstairs, you get a phone call at a payphone, and apparently this is a regular thing. Other tenants know about this. You head to Sergio's like the phone said, and you get to work. You see these little fishes with people's faces that deliver mail on the way. These should remind you of the excessively creepy Dreamcast game Seaman, where you take care of animals with human faces and voice lines. I'm sure there's something there about exploitation in society, or maybe I'm prescribing meaning to something that doesn't have or need it. Anyway, this guy wants to fight you for beer money. Here you get a good look at the style they use for human characters. Really big fan of the flat characteristic placed on blocky 3D models with just colors to distinguish clothes from person. It reminds me of how developers attempted to adapt anime way back when. JoJo's and PS2 comes to mind. Super stylish. Also, he'll go play a tip. You can buy a beer and you can just give it to the tutorial fight guy and he'll chill out. There's a bunch of weird shit just on the street that you can explore for no real reason. A couple of beetles are battling for supremacy on a little log. You can walk into a cozy little convenience store that is somehow the most immaculate place in the game. Probably an allegory for something, I don't care. Look! A mongoose! I bought a little Tamagotchi there. I also ran into this person that told me how to make money, that I should call a number, and it turns out to be an obvious scam. Also this guy. Look at him. My doctor says I need to cut back on smoking, so I'm down to just 1 cigarette a day. He says with a big fucking cigarette, the biggest fucking cigarette I've ever seen in my life. Look at his shirt, dude. At Sergio's place, it's dark, hazy, illuminated by purple light. He's playing Corpse Husband's newest single. No, it's funnier than that. Listen. It's dissonant, offbeat, doesn't rhyme. It's braggadocious as fuck. It sucks shit. I can't believe they made a real, voiced song for this game. You don't see that too often. That's incredible. Sergio calls you a cocksucker. Seems like his nickname for you. When you bring up work, he ignores you and asks you if you like his mixtape. One day I'll make it big. I'll finally go where I belong. And then you could say, Sergio, It's ass. Fuck you. He offers you some smoke-cane, not a joke. Taking a hit doesn't affect gameplay too much, and ooh, a Gringus poster. You take the subway to get to different districts, to get to echoes like the voice on the phone said. You go to the Rooster district. Also, the dev didn't need to add a subway, but they did. I said so in the beginning, but I gotta reiterate, that shit is cool. It just makes the game feel so much more alive. Inside Echoes, some chill-ass music is playing. It's got a dance floor. You could talk off the bartender. The vibes are good. The vibes are good, dude. I talked to everybody when I got there, and this dude gave me a phone card he didn't want. I normally wouldn't mention it, but it's kind of relevant. You hear a couple of dudes talking, and you overhear some info about the briefcase you're after. Making your way back, there's a telephone booth blocking your way, and it talks. It's the security guard, actually. Like, to the back. Fucking regular show-ass character.
What are you looking at? We gotta get through that door, so move it. I can't let you through. Get lost.
And then you give him the phone card, and then he's like,
Man, fuck you. You think just because I look like a phone, you think I want something like this? Worst part is you ain't even wrong. I'll let you through. I'll let you through.
The back of the building looks like halls of a pyramid with hieroglyphics all up on the walls. There's a merchant guy chilling, and you can't do anything with him, and I don't think he has a purpose at all in the game, in fact. You solve a quick little puzzle that you could totally brute force if you wanted to, and you make it to the end of the hallway, to a door. You try to go in, and this, yeah, I don't know what the fuck this is, but you kick its ass. In the room, all that stands in between you and that briefcase is some guy. Whoever he works for, he trusts his boss, but knows you don't trust yours. Ignore that, beat his ass, and then Sergio goes in for the kill, and he somehow misses and shoots the briefcase. And then concerningly, black fluid spurts everywhere all over the ground. This is bad, Sergio says. He shoots the guy in the head, and they bounce. You fucked up pretty bad in there. Anyway, I'm starving. Yeah, I'll get the Hong Kong fried noodles. Make sure you fry them the right temperature. Spring onions on there. Make sure they're boiled. Spring onions and not some lettuce. I want to have. Oh fuck! You guys have haggis? Give me a plate of haggis too. And that's it. I'm hungry, so hurry up. You want anything?
Yeah, I'll get a small fry.
Oh, you fucking fat ass. Yeah, you would like some fries if I'm paying for them, huh? Broke bitch. Next, I totally didn't look up a playthrough because I didn't know I had to walk on top of the bed and click it. Back home and in bed, you're in another dream. It's your room set up like a production with an open wall and lights. Walking down a gray hallway, you see Sergio on his couch, watching cardboard cutouts of Rick and Morty. You walk into a maze of vending machines, a hypothetical asked by John in the beginning of the game. You can find a guy called Mr. Malfunction blocking a grimy hallway, and he says he's different from John from the beginning. As an apology for how scary these dream malfunctions can be, he offers one answer to a burning question. A question of your choosing. Or rather, Mr. Manslaughter, because obviously these aren't generated by you, the player, it's generated by the character. Why do people keep showing up in my dreams that feel like they don't belong there? A pretty basic question that might give us some information as to what's going on, and I ask this one. In my playthrough anyway. He says he believes you misunderstand what dreams are. Yes, they are random ruminations of the subconscious, but it shares a layer of reality with other things, as he puts it. They bleed into each other. With what feels like a teaser for the player, he asks you to rate him positively because it directly affects his wages. He disappears, and right behind him is a door you can't open yet, and a possible Chainsaw Man reference? An important theme to the story of Chainsaw Man is free will and finding out what you want from life. It could very well play into this game if that really is a reference. You get a call at the old payphone. You were not supposed to kill that guy, and you fucked up on getting the briefcase. Obviously that's Sergio's fault, but you're gonna take the blame. The voice on the line says you're not going to be paid for months to pay back the inspector. You're threatened and told to enter the mahjong parlor to collect rent that hasn't been paid for a while. You're turned away without a member's card, so you gotta go get one. I don't really know why. It felt kind of pointless in the game. You slap the shit out of another guard to get to the room behind the mahjong parlor and come face to face with the target of your shakedown, Lao Song. He's a potted plant. In the face of Lao's pleas, Sergio demands the money. He says he's gonna take it and run. And then he points the gun at you. after that, a badass Yakuza level cutscene plays. Holy shit. And then, just when I think I can't get any more dissonant and hype as hell, a Vocaloid song starts playing and I'm rocking with it. Do you remember that cigarette skill I have that like blows up in their face? I did it to Sergio and he's like, well shit, I'm not gonna say no. And it blows up in his fucking face like goddamn Elmer Fudd. You kill him to death until he dies. Lau got away when the fight started, and as you could guess, Boss is not fucking happy with you guys. Taking the subway to the inspector's HQ, you silently ride up the elevator and see what looks like a ghost of Sergio standing behind you. A flashback to when you two were kids. He talks about forgetting stuff. You remember yesterday right now, but will you remember it in the future? Even a week from now, those memories will be hazy. What if you forget things about yourself? Sergio didn't want to grow up. He didn't want to be violent. He didn't want to change. He said he wouldn't, but based on everything we've seen from him, his fears came true. He was a piece of shit. You come face to face with the inspector. He asks you if you know just how much money you cost him, and that you're going to make it all back for him. Not only that, but you won't see a single cent of it either. His guards beat you unconscious, and the credits roll. An after credits scene plays. Little Manslaughter and Sergio meet up with a third friend, Amane. You all play a game of hide and seek. It's interesting seeing Sergio in a much more vulnerable and innocent state, getting embarrassed over little things like little kids should be. After finding them, Amane offers to get you both some ice cream. She says she knows what you both like and wanders off, but this is the last they heard of her.
Part 2 Rebirth.
And you're back in the office. John C. asks if you're back for more, and he tries not to give away too much about what's happening, but he clearly wants you to succeed. He offers you an edge this time around, which you can reject. I took it. He wishes us luck and reveals our character's name for the first time. Tony. You wake up to your room. This time it's covered in scrawlings. There's a punching bag in the corner. Things are the same, but different. You also have more stats than you did before too. You can probably use all of the skills in the game now. With this new Groundhog Day-like power, I knew what I had to do. I went to the store and bought cat food for Ming. This is the hardest fucking cat of all time. Meet up at Sergio's house for the first job, but this time you got more options. You can encourage him, talk about your dreams, or you can be aggressive. Way more involved responses than before. Tony is also now speaking with Sergio as a character with a dialogue box. It's even affecting Sergio's decisions. Everything plays out the exact same, except this time Tony stops Sergio from shooting. You grab the suitcase, you get out of there, a successful job. And once you do get out of there, you pass out. You approach the door you couldn't before. A voice with the name Kowloon responds. What looks like a man in a skin-tight black suit confronts you with a spotlight shining on him. His face stands out as what looks like a picture of an actual human. You are trying to save Sergio, and in doing so, yourself. But unfortunately, I can't let that happen. Something sent you back here. To you, it may seem as if divine powers have given you a second chance. To me, this is a declaration of war. Every moment of your life is carefully planned. Things happened the way they did because they were supposed to. As unfortunate as that may be for some, it's ultimately for the good of the rest of the world. Do you understand now? The future is not meant to be changed. This is your last warning. From now on, you shall let everything play out as intended, and if you don't, there will be consequences. Now, wake up, Mr. Manslaughter.
Bro, trying to be G-man.
First thing's obvious. Their name is Kowloon. A common belief around the world is destiny. You were fated to do everything in your life that you do and turn out the way that you do. It could be that Kowloon, in a way, controls the citizens within it, either metaphorically with the oppressive atmosphere constantly eating at their psyche, or in the game's case, literally, that the entity known as Kowloon is physically controlling the population to reach an end that ensures its survival, or, like I said, to benefit the world. I think that Tony's existence is somehow destroying Kowloon. Tony is fighting against fate and unseen powers. You wake up at Sergio's, and he kicks you out. The fact that he bothered to bring you here should say something, though. Tony goes home and goes to sleep. Tony wakes up on what looks like, to me, an ash-covered beach. The occasional fire gives the scene its only bit of color aside from Tony. No idea what these things are called, but they shoot, I think, right? I'm sure the point of it is that it's supposed to evoke the feeling or the idea of war. At the end of this beach, though, is Amane, standing, glowing. He runs towards her. Tony? It's you, isn't it? You've surely grown since the last time we saw each other. I'm glad you came here. I've been waiting for a while. I don't even know how long. Sergio. Promise, okay? I don't have much time to talk, unfortunately. It's not much, but I've left you a little present. You'll see it when you wake up, okay? Do your best tomorrow, okay? I'm sure we'll see each other again soon. The memories are gone, but Tony feels in his hand the Mahjong invitation from before, gotten way sooner than when he should realistically have it. Getting a call from the inspector, he congratulates you this time and tells you about the next job at the Mahjong parlor. Quickly, you and Sergio make it in and beat the guard like last time. This time, Tony tries to steer Sergio away from threatening him so much, but raising your voice at all just triggers him to pull the gun on you and... Like a computer rebooting, you wake up in a place called or owned by Placebo. They sell premium filter cigarettes. The placebo effect is when a person's physical or mental health appears to improve after taking a placebo. Cigarettes, interestingly, have a very real calming effect, but only after an addiction develops. Feel better, become worse. Despite the place's name, it's more of an airport than anything. 2 ladies at a desk, a little garden area for color, hallways that look like the walls of that day of hide and seek with Amane fill the space between rooms. There's also a hallway that coils to a halt, a dead end, and you see a painting that goes by the name Tekel. I looked it up, and the closest thing I could find that has something to do with the game is that it was a Turkish tobacco company involved in several other businesses. Tekel talks about the spiral he completed, the one that you're in. They punished him for the idea sucking so bad and placed him there. I view this as more of an allusion to Junji Ito's Uzumaki, mostly because Tekel looks like the Uzumaki symbol on the cover of the manga. Also, Uzumaki just means spiral. Uzumaki's story has characters that become obsessed with spirals, turning into spirals, the city turning into a spiral, and then we find out that the story itself is a spiral, a continuous loop, something beyond control of the protagonist or anyone else for that matter. It relates to Tony's story, waking up once again to try to change something. He's done this many times now, as seen by the bodies by the statue. This relates to the themes of fate and how one's actions affect the world. How this differs, though, is that Tekel describes this as a finite spiral, going against the infinity of Uzumaki's spiral, probably saying that there is an end to this. That's how I'm piecing things together, at least. Getting a ticket from the desks, you can board the plane. Before you do, Amane is there to talk with you, and she says she just wanted to see you off. She wishes you could say, but you have things that you need to do, like save Sergio. Goodbye, Tony. For now. You board the plane, and you wake up as a child on the top of a bridge. Running forward, you can see Kowloon again. I cannot allow you to go any further. You were sent back by a force from outside Kowloon City, but the one who sent you back did not do so you could save Sergio. To explain it in a way you would understand, you are a bullet. A bullet fired with the intent to destroy Kowloon City. Due to its nature, Kowloon City is vulnerable to outside interference. It is my duty to protect it from such interference. That is why I cannot let you do this. No matter how small it may seem, even something like this can result in disaster. But these matters do not concern someone like you. You have to go back. Forget about this and live your life as you are supposed to. There is no other way. Now, what? He's here. You. Sergio, standing on the water in front of an orange sunset, finally opens up about things. He says he looks up to you, but you always act like you know everything. It pisses him off. He gets ready for a fight. You both end up lying on the ground, before being thrown back into the scene where Sergio shot you. This time, Sergio doesn't threaten to kill Lao Song and he just hands over the money. You both leave. Sergio is all business now. He brings up the job and urges the duo to get going. You bring the money to the designated point and the guy you were about to fight over beer in the beginning of the game is there. He got a job. Sergio and Tony have a cigarette after the finished job. Looking over a sunken district of Kowloon, he reflects on everything. About how Lao Song looks like a fucking plant. About how his mom found him in a mahjong parlor. How he keeps seeing dreams just like you. With this day behind him, he's able to pay back the inspector in full. He's free to move on from his service to him. He's going to focus on doing music full time. He says he's got someone waiting for him though. Appreciates working with you and walks off. A phone rings nearby. The temple that Tony saw in a vision early on that was locked off. The inspector's waiting there for him.
Also, look at this beetle. I didn't even know he was chill like that.
Standing at the temple is the inspector. He marvels at the beauty of the place. He talks about the statue. He says it's a deity that rules over time. He reversed it to bring back people from the dead. Ones that he felt died too soon.
That's you, player. You fucking idiot.
He thanks you for exceeding his expectations wildly, and thinks you're the man for a job he has in mind. You don't need to think about it. It's already decided that you're going to do this. He asks you to go home and get some rest. That you'll need it. And the game ends. That was Kowloon's Curse by Studio Notes. Now, there's all kinds of Easter eggs and side quests that I didn't get to talk about, mostly because I didn't get to see them on my first try, but it'll give you an excuse to play for yourself and slightly alter the game from what I presented you. You might remember that in the opening for the game, there was way more that we as players didn't get to see. This game is actually a prequel for a game that's going to be coming out soon, so I'm going to stay tuned for that. This is actually version 2 of a free game, so lots of love to the creator, Rem, and the Studio Notes. That is dedication, and we love to see it. I don't know if it's going to stick to the weird mix and style of gameplay that they got going on for Lost Reports. There seems to be a lot more dungeon crawling. I just say that because I see a lot more traversable environments in the trailer and the opening. I do hope that there'll be a lot more combat options that you'll have to consider in the release of Kowloon's Curse. And even if they don't, and you can beat the game with your eyes closed like this one, I'm really looking forward to it. The game is fucking stylish, and it tells a story in a super unique way from other visual novels, if you want to call this a visual novel. Hope you enjoyed the video. Sorry for taking a while on this one. Weird part about making videos about video games is that you gotta stop playing them in order to make these things. Also, I did some thinking. I don't think I'm happy with the Lethal Company video. Just wanted to put something together while I was making something else that takes more time, but it's just recycled secondary content. I don't think I want that on my main channel. I'm just gonna unlist it. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I'll see you next time.